just in case this actually comes out on the replay. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the. There we go. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the. There we go. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the. We have sound. We have. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the replay and all that. Mayang buntag, mayang hapon, mayang gabi, no matter where you are in the world. Welcome to today's live stream. That not a whole lot's been going on. Yesterday was a pretty awesome meetup with everyone. I appreciate everyone that did manage to make it, even if it was just for a short time, and a few people that popped in and out. And my apologies about the internet issues here, but we're still recouping from Odette. Yeah, Odette was an interesting experience. And I think I've said this before, that it appears PLDT is going through and upgrading lines as they're repairing. And since they began their heavy repairs or intense repairs, we lose internet a minute here and there, 5 minutes. You know, that it's rarely for very long, but it's there and all of a sudden it's gone. And then it just pops right back up. So it acts like they're either putting in new lines and making the actual connection, or they're switching. You know, they're doing this switching on and off. So my apologies if it happens again today. Hang out for a minute or two. I'll probably be right back. So far on a live stream, I haven't been disconnected long enough to be disconnected, but once. So, but I did cancel one or two because I thought I was going to get disconnected. So I don't know if they actually count or not. But what's going on today? That we're still waiting for China's passport. That Cindy had the tracking number, the tracking info. I was going to try and check just before I went online, but I didn't get the message. And we checked earlier this morning again. It made it to the warehouse or the service center at Mactan Airport at Cebu Airport, but the package hasn't been out for delivery yet. It made it there about 11:10 or something like that yesterday morning, but it never got through all the voodoo that they do there and got sent out. So good morning, Parabiology. I was looking at my phone. My messages pop up a second or two before, a few seconds on my phone before they pop up here. Morning, Mr. Parabiology. So how's El Nido? I haven't made it to Palawan yet. A lot of traveling that was expected to happen this year, you just never did. That Cindy and I were not terribly big on being vaxxed. Still aren't, and it's looking like we're not going to have to. So we're going to go that way. My congrats to you that you did, though. That's a really cool thing. I feel bad that we weren't able to schedule a meetup while you were here in town. But I realize you were kind of on a limited time budget. That one of these trips back, we're going to have to head over there. But like I've said before, with my 13A, that I got to be in country sometime in the first 60 days of the calendar days of the year to do my annual check-in with the ACR card. And one of those trips, we plan on being here for a month or two every time. One of those trips, we are going to go over to Palawan. And I don't have a problem with the people that did take it. I don't have a problem with the vaccines in and of themselves. I just had a problem with this vaccine. But I don't fault anybody for getting it. I realize you made a personal choice, and I support you in that choice. And that's all I ask, that from those who did get it, support me in my choice. I don't get annual flu shots either. I have never taken one. Cindy's actually tried a couple. I think she tried it 3 different times. It was either 2 or 3 different times, but every time she had a negative reaction to it. Not horrible or anything like that, just sick enough that after the last time, no, not again. You know, we tried, we did it, and no. Uh, and right now, it's looking like things are going to finally start opening up. I noticed that the IATF backed off and is allowing Gwen to welcome 1,000 non-vaxxed daily to Cebu province. So, and I think that was another big thing is I didn't like the idea of the 2 shots. If I could have gotten a Johnson and Johnson a while ago, it may have been different. It may have been different. But here in the Philippines, because of issues that they had with people wanting to choose the vaccine, they weren't told what it was until after. And so a lot of people, you know, got Sinovac and Russiavac and, you know, these other oddballs. Uh, were vaccines they got. And I don't know how that would work in the US, whether or not they'd make you, whether or not there's some of these companies that would make you revaccinate or not. So I don't know. But that was a factor in our choosing not to here. Yeah, that the stomach bugs that you can get here can really ruin a vacation. Uh, there's a friend of ours back in Phoenix that she was born and raised here, but has been in the States for 40 plus years and had never been back to the Philippines. One of her siblings passed away and she came back. Her husband was fine, but after about 3 days, she got some kind of bug and wound up in a hospital that it was that bad and spent their entire trip hospitalized. And so obviously they've never been back since. So it's not just foreigners that succumb to it, but even Filipinos that have been gone for a long time will sometimes get hit with these things. And a lot of it's just exactly that it's bugs that you're not used to, your system's not used to. Get introduced to it slowly, and a lot of times it's not that bad, and your body stands a chance of recovering, recouping quicker and easier. I've got a water bottle that's frozen, and as it's thawing, it kind of started to lean. So I opened it up and let some of the air back into it. Uh, but yeah, that I so far, knock on wood, I've never had the dysentery, the Montezuma revenge type stuff. A couple times I've had really bad constipation. I went the other route to the point where my stomach couldn't deal with it anymore, and managed to get some. Went over to a pharmacy and managed to get some drugs to loosen everything up and get it going again. But I've got a relatively strong stomach on most things. I've done balut and a lot of the other foods here that a lot of people won't eat. Uh, Balut to me is no different than a hard boiled egg. It just tastes like to me, it tastes like a hard boiled egg with a weird texture. If you can get past the texture, it's not that bad. I've done the parabiology. Did you ever do the ESAL? I've done that, and I actually don't mind it. Again, it's a little chewier than I really like, but it's not bad. Uh, I don't think the meat has any flavor in and of itself. I think it comes down to the sauce that's put on it. But there again, if you buy traditionally made sausage, the casing for that's the same thing. So, well, not the same thing, but one's from a pig and one's from a chicken. Uh, yeah, that I don't mind a lot of those foods. And again, knock on wood, I've never had that problem. One time, I take that back. One time here, this trip, uh, we got some lechon from Karkar Public Market, their old public market, and the entire family had food poisoning. That unfortunately we lived in a one bathroom house at that point. It got well used. The Papa was about ready to move a 55-gallon drum in there so that we could flush it so frequently. Uh, what was not a fun experience. But other than that, I've never had any issues with food here or anything like that. I think the biggest problem that I had was just the diet change all at once kind of messed up my stomach a little bit and just wouldn't let things out. And because I do drink a ton of water here. I actually drink more water here than I do in Phoenix, which is kind of unusual. But I think a little bit of it's just the fact that you are sweating and feel it a lot more. Uh, when I was working, a lot of times when I was working hard and sweating a lot, I'd drink a ton. When I was working, slow and steady and wasn't sweating that bad, I wouldn't wasn't apparently sweating that bad. I wouldn't drink that much. And so I think in the back of my mind that I'm waiting for myself to sweat back there is part of the reason why. Uh, but back there, back in Phoenix, the air is so stinking dry. Uh, and that's part of the reason why so many people wind up with dehydration is because if you're working along, a lot of times you don't sweat bad enough for it to collect, but what sweat you do have just evaporates so fast that you don't even realize you are sweating, and that's part of the problem. And that's part of the problem with so many people getting heat stroke in Arizona is that they don't even realize they are sweating because it doesn't. Oh, that's too bad because a lot of the street food is really good. That's something I actually look forward to here immensely. That these little street barbecues that I will generally have a Filipino with me to find the right ones to go to. Mangapon, Mr. Brown, how you doing today? That well, we're talking about street food in the Philippines. Uh, have you ever, David? Have you ever tried the isaw? That's an interesting dish. Uh, but yeah, the street food in general is really good. Papa just recently found a new place that's relatively close. The guys that have watched my walking live streams, if you've watched where we go straight out to Virama, uh, across the Sing Song Road, that right across the street is that Crown Regency, the Crown Regency residences. And right there in front of that, there's a carinderia that we've went to a few times. We've went to the place. We haven't eaten there. But Papa stopped out there that on the recommendation of somebody that they had really good street food, really good barbecue. And Esau's the stuff on a stick that kind of does the little S that is chicken intestines. That they're actually not bad. If you get the chance, try them. But he found that, and that had really good food there. There's another one that I did a YouTube short a while ago that we were getting barbecue that night, and the That one's in walking distance here. Again, if you remember a green building that we passed, I made comment that they've got really good bulalo. In the evenings, they do barbecue, and that's really good. We'll go down there periodically for it. Uh, that and that's one thing I am going to miss back in Phoenix is the foods here. Uh, Now you're one up on me. I've never done the chicken feed. How were they? Uh, I've seen them frequently. Dong, when last time we were in Sabunga, got a bunch, and I just didn't try them. There's no good reason why I didn't. I do know that a lot of Filipinos, Cindy and most of her family included, like the cartilage, and it's just something that I just never cared for. Not that it tastes bad or anything like that. I just never cared for the weird texture of it. Hey, John, how you doing? We missed you yesterday on the virtual meetup. That I'm going to see if Cindy's watching. I'm going to see if I can get her to forward the text to my messenger account, and we're going to. I'll check on it while we're still online, and see where that passport is. We got a message. We did a virtual meetup on Facebook. A couple people had asked about it repeatedly. We started to do it, and it started to get to be a kind of a fun thing. And then with the labor and delivery, and then the new birth and everything else, the last few months we hadn't been doing it. That we've been doing it on the third Monday of the month. And I've actually scheduled a room for next month on the 21st of March. And a lot of whether or not that's done here in Phoenix is going to depend on that stupid package that's coming. I shouldn't say that package that's coming, that precious package is coming. If both the CRBA and the passport are in there, we're going to look at leaving early. How early is up for debate. My brother and his wife is going to be in Arizona. I don't know if they're going to be in Phoenix, but they're going to be in Arizona March 7th to the 14th. And so there's a really good chance we'll try and get back sometime while they're there so they can meet Chana. Mama Papa actually took off back to Sabunga, and they are gone today and will be back tomorrow sometime. I'm not sure exactly when. So, John, any news on your trip out here yet? And did you see the latest news from the IATF? They are allowing Gwen to go forward with the 1,000 a day to come in, the 1,000 a day unvaccinated to come into Cebu province. So if you've got tickets direct into Cebu, you're golden as long as it's after March 1st. I kind of see and this is just my opinion, and I basically been saying this for a year and a half now too, but with the way case counts are dropping, with the way active cases are dropping, and they're dropping like a stinking stone. Uh, because in December they were ready to try and open, and right now the numbers are basically back to where they were in December. That they're not quite there, but they're really close. So I kind of picture by May most of the Philippines being reopened to unvaccinated tourists. Uh, yeah, that the Philippines, like so many other countries that are heavily tourist dependent, is hurting bad. That their economy is hurting bad. There's a few economists that are talking about an economics bubble that is about to burst, and if some of these countries don't get reopened, I think they're going to be caught up in that bubble. So, or in that burst, I guess. If the Philippines doesn't get open before that point, that they could be in for a world of hurt. And the other thing you got to remember is that the elections are in May. So I could see them fighting to get it open to try and take credit for opening it, especially having it open just as they got elected. So um, I've never made any bones about it. I think it is I don't question the reality of COVID, but I question the regulations that were imposed as being very political and not medical. And again, I think this is going to, at least here in the Philippines, I think the ending of it is also going to be a very political thing that the parties are going to try and take advantage of. And whomever gets elected is going to try and take credit for ending the pandemic in the Philippines. Holy cow, I didn't realize it had been that long. You left just as Cindy and I were getting together. Uh, I know you've been away from YouTube for a long time. I saw in the beginning you were trying to post a little bit here and there, but like so many channels that wind up moving to the US, uh, that it just didn't continue through. One way or another, by hook or by crook, the channel is going to take on a new tone, but we are going to continue posting videos. I'm probably going to continue trying to do live streams. I got to figure out where and how I can do walking live streams that are somewhat interesting. The advantage is going to be keeping similar timing. It is going to be a matter of getting out to some of these parks and stuff like that. And it'll allow me to go out in the afternoons, evenings. Because right now, Phoenix time, before I screw this up, Phoenix time is 6:26 p.m. And so it's in the evening afternoons. During the summer, it's not going to be a problem because it'll be evening and the sun will still be up. But around October to probably about this time, it's going to be dark. It's going to be dark. So doing outdoor walking live streams at this point is going to be a challenge. And finding someplace I can go do live streams may be a little bit of a challenge. Time will tell. We're just going to have to see how that works out. That Cindy and I are also going to get a little bit more back to the roots of the channel. Because originally we were starting out, and the original intent behind it was to help Phil-Am couples that were just getting together and learning how to blend the cultures together and figuring out life. And not offering a whole lot of marriage advice, but just what we do and what works for us. If you guys go back and look through some of our early videos, that we had a bunch of them. Yesterday we were talking about one of them. That the English that Filipinos speak may be English, but it's not the same English you and I speak. Yeah, it does. It gets really cool, and that's one advantage Cindy and I have. Is from the beginning, from the get go. It's always been a channel about the couple and what we're doing. It hasn't been exclusively what's going on, where we're at. Where we're at has been a big component of it, but it hasn't been the main feature. And so, where we're at is kind of a bonus footage. And so we're going to be able to continue in that, in the U.S. And there's going to be a lot of things that are done with Shauna that we're going to be able to go video, but I got to be really careful about that with kids. Enjoy, David. I take it. Oh, enjoy, David. I know you're picking up your wife right about now, so tell her we all said hi. That yeah, because a lot of vloggers that when they go back to their that do travel vlogs, and when they go back to their home place, they really don't have anything to video. And so Cindy and I are going to start going back into a little bit more of that, offering a monthly, what we do video. And that and that may be a great title for that series is what we do. One thing that came up is I speak and project very well. And a lot of Filipinos take that as being angry. And it'll take them some time to adjust to me having, as they call it, a big voice. Shauna is seeming to be one that is going to be projecting very well. That sometimes when she's babbling and stuff, you can hear her 2 rooms away with doors closed. And so she may have an issue along that one. And that we did a video about that, and it was kind of funny. Dude, go get some tocino just for me, okay? Enjoy. John, I think it's down to just you and I at this point. Unless we got some lurkers in the background. And if we do, you're welcome to pop up and say hi. We don't bite too much. No flame wars here. Yeah, I finished off my coffee, so now I got to not switching over to water. My water bottle is unfortunately way bigger than my coffee cup. Yeah, I think it's down to just you and I, which that's kind of cool too. I still try to do the full hour because I know a lot of people will frequently show up, 25, 30, even 45 minutes into these. So I will hang out. David periodically pops back in if we're still